Okay, here we go. So so we're gonna finish up the energy, electrons, and quantum notes. Um, so yesterday we got to the point where we're basically at this atomic orbitals information here. Okay, so just as a reminder, we're doing all of this to try to describe, like trying to figure out and describe where the electrons are in the atom. And the reason we're doing that is because when the electrons change positions, that's when they gain or lose energy. So being able to tell where they're at is part of understanding what they do with the energy and how that works. Okay? So I don't have, I thought I found it somewhere, but I don't know if I have my copy. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so just remember, so yesterday in this spot, like we had the orbital, right, which is the region around the nucleus. Okay, so we have what are called atomic orbitals, which are essentially the same thing. It's related to that. So the atomic orbitals are regions around the nucleus of an atom where an electron with a given energy just means like a specific amount of energy, a specific amount of energy is likely to be found. Okay, when it says specific amount, that just means like different electrons can contain different amounts of energy. Okay, so the different orbital shapes are designated by the letters S, P, D, and F. Okay? Don't ask me why, I have no idea. I'm sure there's a reason somewhere, somehow, but I don't know what it is. Okay, an S orbital shape is a sphere. Okay? A P orbital shape, they call it like a dumbbell. Looks kind of like an infinity symbol, sort of, with the nucleus at the middle. Okay, those are the only two that you need to know. The D and the F, we're going to do a little activity that kind of shows you what they look like, but you don't need to sort of like memorize or have a name for those or anything. So there's four orbital shapes, S, P, D, and F. All right. You are going to need to learn how to reproduce and remember these charts. So now if you're like me, I'm not always the best at memorizing things, so I try to come up with little tricks. So to do this chart, you need to remember the orbital shapes in that order, S, P, D, F. The way I do it is smart people don't fail. If you're got a twisted sense of humor, you could say stupid people do fail. Whatever works for you. S, P, D, F, you need to remember that order. The number of orbitals goes up by odds. 1, 3, 5, 7. Starts with 1, goes up by odds. So if you remember the order SPDF, then number of orbitals is just odds. 1, 3, 5, 7. The maximum electrons is 2 times the number of orbitals equals the maximum electrons. Okay, and we'll learn some kind of reasons for that later, but so basically you take whatever the number of orbitals is times 2, and that's your maximum electrons. So 1 orbital, 2 electrons, 3 orbitals, 6, 5, 10, 7, 14. So far so good, makes sense? Well, at least like based on the chart type stuff. Okay, let's flip it. Principal energy levels. Principal energy levels, all the principal energy levels are, is they are, they're the energy levels in an atom. They represent the different amounts of energy an electron can contain. They're indicated by the quantum number n equals. So again, I don't have my copy of the notes for some reason, but basically, if you recall, on the front page, you guys probably have this written down by the quantum number stuff. I did like a Bohr's model, was like n equals 1, like that, n equals 2, right? Those are the primary energy levels. 1, 2, like n equals 1 equals, those are just the energy levels. Okay? Then there are these things called sublevels. Sublevels are divisions of a principal energy level within an atom. So, makes sense, right? Level and sublevel. A sublevel is designated by a combination of the quantum number and the orbital shape. For example, 1s. The 1 is the quantum number, and the s is the orbital shape. You can think of it kind of like an address. You can think about it like your address for your house or whatever. Like it's got a number and a street name, right? Like just two parts make it up, so you can find where that is. If you just had the number, it could be on. You could have the same number on many different streets. If you just had the street, there could be a lot of houses on that same. So you need both to have the accurate spot. You need both the house number and the address. Same thing here. You need the quantum number because the quantum number is the energy level and the shape of the orbital. Okay? Makes sense? All right. The number of sublevels, okay, so I'll do that with this chart here. So again, you're going to need to kind of know this chart now. First thing, this was just a formatting thing when I transferred it to Google Docs. The S's that are here on these two columns, those are just S's that were like, it's number of orbitals, plural, maximum electrons, plural. That's not an S like an orbital or something. Okay, just so you guys know. All right. So this chart is showing information for each energy level. So energy level n equals 1, n equals 2, n equals 3, n equals 4. This is showing information for the first 4 energy levels. Okay. This is the number of sublevels on each energy level. The number of sublevels is the first number. Then I also put them in parentheses. I put what they are. So the number of sublevels just goes up by 1. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the same as the principal energy level. So energy level 1 has 1 sublevel. Energy level 2 has 2 sublevels. Okay. What are the two sublevels on energy level 2? It's 2s and 2p. Energy level 3 has 3 sublevels. What are they? 3s, 3p, 3d. So there is no 1d. 1d doesn't exist. The only thing on the first level is 1s. That's it. Nothing else. There is no 1p. P starts on the second level. You got a 2s and a 2p. So we're adding 1 each time in that same order, S, P, D, F, right? So we don't get to F until we get to the 4th energy level. Everybody okay so far? Like making sense? The number of orbitals is the sublevels squared, or principal energy level squared, however you want to look at it. 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16. Okay. Now, I'll go back to that in 1 second. Maximum electrons is the same as it was on the other one. Number of orbitals times 2 is your maximum electron. So if you remember, really, like if this is number of sublevels, if you remember these two things, you can have this whole chart memorized, really. Because the energy levels just go up by 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. The number of sublevels is the exact same as the energy level, 1, 2, 3, 4. The orbitals is the sublevel squared. So you just square each of them. Electrons is 2 times the orbitals. Just double whatever the orbitals are. And you got the whole chart memorized. Okay. All right. Now, just to give you a little explanation here, these are the sublevels at each one, right? Like the one sublevel on energy level 1 is a 1s. The 2 that are on energy level 2 are 2s and 2p, right? Now, let's look at this for a second. Every s orbital, every s shape has one orbital. Every p shape has 3 orbitals. Every d has 5, and every f has 7, right? Going up by odds. So if we look here, s has how many? 1. 1 sublevel, 1 orbital, 1s. Second level, what do we have? We have 2s and 2p. Remember, the 2 doesn't mean how many, the 2 means what level they're on. So a 2s is just an s on the second level, okay? So s has 1 orbital. All p's have 3, total of 4. The third energy level, s's have 1, p's have 3, d's have 5, total of 9. S's have 1, P's have 3, D's have 5, F has 17 or 7, total of 16. So that's where those totals come from. It's easier just to remember it's this squared, but in case you're wondering, that's where those totals come from, is the number of orbitals per shape. Okay. All right. How do we feel so far about the information? Like it, at least it kind of goes together. We understand the numbers?
So like 4F and 4D, for example.
Say it again.
Like
4.
N equals 4.
Mm-hmm.
So when you said there's 4 S's, 4 P's, 4 D's, 4 F's, now
so the
do you
4
multiply that by the number?
No. Remember the 4. So think of these like an address.
Okay.
The 4 is the level you're on. So another analogy that might be able to help you guys is somebody used this once and it's pretty good, is like a hotel. And if the S, P, D, and F are like different types of rooms, and then the first number is like the floor. So like it's not that you have 4 S's, it's that you have an S on the 4th floor. Okay, you don't have 4 P's, you have P's on the 4th floor. And then however many orbitals for each one. Okay? Any other questions? All right, I'm going to, hopefully, yes.